Hi everyone, Mature Simmer here. Welcome to another map tour. Today I'm going to take a look at the French Plain. This one is available from the main mod hub, as you can tell. It's created by Rust Farming, Sparpiego, Nico DU55. Now it is an initial release, so maybe we should call this a map preview, because maybe you'll want to wait until the see you soon for a version 2 that they note. But I wanted to take a look at this simply because of the second point that includes the word hilly. Obviously, if you followed my main series on Misty Hills in FSN, you know that we've spent quite a long time on a hilly map in Seneca, and I just love that, and I've been really looking for something that might capture that flavor, and so I'm hoping this is it. So hopefully you'll come along on this journey and take a look and determine if it's something you at least want to keep an eye on. If not, start working with right away. So the description, as you can see here, welcome to the French Plain, 12 points of sale, 247 hilly fields, 6 lands for the construction of a farm. There's XML highlights which create deeper blue skies and darker nights, animations, birds flying across the map, a modified culture, height, and density. So I'm assuming that has to do with the crops themselves. The visuals of the seasons have been changed in some way, and French license plates integrated into the map. Okay, so here we are at the spawn point. So this is a base size map. I believe nothing was indicating that it was larger. If we begin here in the PDA as we normally do, we can see a pretty busy map, which is to be expected with 247 fields, as I talked about. You can see a lot of them are narrow rows, rectangular, so similar to Polish maps if you've played those. The interesting thing here is they talked about, I think, 6 places to start a farm, and they made it very clear on this PDA. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So they're kind of numbered around where you can have things. Let's go ahead while we're here and just look at the sell points on the map. So we've got a Moulin du Châtenay, animal dealer. I'm assuming that's got something to do with it. I took French a long time ago. So Triscalia, Palais de France, Boulangerie, which I think is like a bakery, and then Vivador, Forestier, so I'm guessing that might be the sawmill. Champagne Cereal, that I assume is the cereal factory. Don't know what Sigma Bois is. Terrance d'Alliance, I think these are just sell points. Fermier, Lanes du Valgador, concession. Oops. So various things, as they said. I think they said about 12 sell points. So you can see what those are and where they're spread. Taking a look at field values. So this is new farmer mode, as I normally start with. So I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. You can see we own this very small section with 189 and 188. So we have 2 fields and a total of 6.64 acres, but that includes some space here. So this field's 11 acres. This larger one here's 47 acres, which appears to be probably the largest field on the map. So there's one that's 44. So you can see, not huge. It is 639,000 for that piece, 600,000 there, 154,000. So for the 100,000 you've got, you're going to be dealing with, little fields like this that are 2 acres for 32,000. Maybe these down here for 3 acres, 2 acres. Again, around that 30 or 40,000 range. Oh, that's bigger than I thought. 2.29 acres, so it's still 31,000. So those appear to be some of the smaller fields. You know, there's some little ones. Here's a 1.26 acre, 1.33 acre here, a 0.7 acre. So right now this wins for the smallest field I found. Just under, you can get that for under $10,000. So you definitely have some choices here. Yeah, it looks like 4 fields altogether in 3 acres. So those are about, you know, 0.75 acres apiece if you just divide it evenly. So as you can see, options there. And then we've got these 6 locations, which we'll certainly take a look at. So taking a look at the crop calendar, definitely been modified. It's got, instead of the typical 2 months, it's got 3 months of planting for most things. In some cases also 3 months of harvesting. You can see things like sugarcane and cotton are removed. You know, but certainly in southern France, I think grapes and olives, since you're near the Mediterranean, would be possible and could be grown. So those are available on the map, but they've taken, again, sugarcane and cotton off. As far as points that you can sell crops at, you can see, like other mod maps we've seen, which are pretty good, you've got 6 sell points for things like wheat, barley, and oats. Canola, sorghum, grapes and olives, you get down to 2 or 3. So Fermier may be the place. No, it's actually takes other things. So I was going to say it might be the place for grapes, like a winery, but obviously it's also buying sunflowers and corn and all that. So you can sell potatoes, sugar beet varieties. They do have sale points for sugarcane and cotton, even though you can't grow them. So that's, I would say, a little bit of an error in just the continuity of the design. Since you can't grow it, I would say they shouldn't really have any place to sell the product. You've got your animal products available. Wood chips can be sold. Various items for animals with grass work. And then into the production items. So it looks like the Magazine Fermier is, whatchamacallit, sell point for nearly everything. So you've basically got a single sell point that you can use mainly for your production items. And then you can't sell planks, you can sell furniture. And then no manure silage digestate, and also key, no sell point for stones. So obviously just be careful if you utilize that. Okay, so I've moved over here to, I guess, what you would call the starting farm. So you do get what look like 3 buildings, 3 port garage, a 4-spot shed. So we've got a spreader over there. Start with the garage here. Just take a peek. So we've got a pickup truck and a forklift in here. So this is kind of almost a big garage with an outdoor space for larger vehicles. So we've got a couple tractors and a trailer, a tractor and a planter, and then the harvester, the Deutschfahr, proverbial one that we use for many, many things. Another giant tractor there with a plow and a weight if you want to do that. Just taking a look. Alright, we can't open this gate, it looks like. Either that or I can't find the trigger point. So that would seem to indicate we can't use this road. Not quite sure. Yep, no trigger point that I can see there, so just be aware. Because now I'm curious, I need to find my way out of this space. So I would say that's going to be a key item they're going to have to resolve. in version 2 of the map, because that appears to be the way we're supposed to take out. But unless there's no collisions with that bar, which given the fact I had to jump over it, there are as I'm walking. Do we have... I think we can see the whole bay. Oh no, I guess this is a separate bay, but nothing in here. But, oh, this is our workshop. So, there you go. So, kind of a pull-in vehicle workshop. I believe these are the standard sheds in the game that come with it that you can utilize. It's just not one I've seen before, obviously. I wanted to take a look, just given the comments that the mod author made of some of the things, you know, time-based things in the game. Basically, the deeper blue skies, darker night, and what they're saying are season visuals. So let's just pop around and see what we see. Okay, and so with regard to visual seasons, I've moved this forward a few months into October. Obviously, we've got trees changing. I'm guessing all it could be is maybe something like the snowmen and so forth that appear around the map in some cases. Alright, so here we are in January. The snow started falling. This entire army of snowmen appeared here in the village park, including King Kong snowman. So it's kind of what I was thinking might be happening. Checking out my farm, the starting farm, I'm not seeing any similar armies of snowmen that have started to take over the landscape here. So I'm over here in kind of that smaller town. Found this group here in the yard. You know, some more over here. Looks like they're carrying some firewood because they've decided they've had enough and they want to melt themselves. So yeah, I'd kind of hanging around this farm and basically, or this park. And so yeah, what I've determined is now in the spring, well, first off, in the winter, yes, every time it snows, the snowmen appear. When it stops snowing, they go away. Here we've got, you know, these tents. We've got the hammock that shows up here in the spring. So now here in the summer, this park now suddenly has campfires and tents along with the spring tents. So definitely a lot happening there. So yeah, and it seems in the fall here, you know, some of the diehard, you know, tents still stay and so forth, but things have gone away. So season visuals, that appears to be what they are. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go into flight mode. I can see, just from this little rise, the hilliness that I was excited about. Clearly, again, this is intended to be our road, but when we do the driving tour, we'll see how that all pans out. You know, and again, we move across the map pretty quickly. As I said, a base size map, I believe. So you've got some forest areas too, if you'd like to take advantage of that. Looks like where you've got a little bit of a port. So one of the sell points is this port that's located on this waterway that may or may not get us to the outside world, but they've made an attempt to do that, because yeah, here we're down at the corner of the map. So the water kind of abruptly ends. You know, there's definitely some, you can see cars moving there. I see they're coming to the road here, so you know, that is how they get vehicles and traffic on the map. Once again, keep in mind this is a version 1 of the map, so they're talking about providing a version 2. It looks like these hills can be pretty substantial, just even from the air. It's usually harder to tell, as you've seen from other map tours, if an area has any roll to it, but I'd say there's pretty much no doubt with this map. what you're getting into. But definitely a lot more terrain, so if you're looking for something... Oh, I like that kind of added feature. You've got a wind turbine that's in a state of construction, so the propeller, well, it's not a propeller, I don't know what it's called, the turbine has not been moved up yet, and you've got a crane there next to it, so that's a nice added little feature. Now it looks like we've got another one of those over here, so they're building various wind farms. Got a cellular tower up on the hill, another forest. It looks like this road, yep, goes through. So I'll see if I can go through that. That might be a pretty little drive. But yeah, you know, a lot of uniqueness. It looks like we've got the main town here toward the center of the map, along with a couple points we can interact with. There's this biogas up on the hill. Yeah, it's also under construction, so it doesn't actually show as usable on the map. So we've got the sirens, as you can hear, from I guess I'll call them the European siren. So there's a lot of windmills on the map. And we've got this water feature, this pretty little lake. We've got boats. So it looks like maybe the locals use it for fishing. Alright, so this is actually one of the areas you could... It's number 1 where you can set up your farm. So definitely interesting. You know, probably not some place you'd create a field, but you could go ahead in the center there and do that. So here's another more traditional kind of space where it's already paved. Now this looks like maybe it used to be a sawmill, and they've you know, cleared that out, and you can use it for your farm. Alright, this is our farmyard from overhead, just so you've got that view. And then I'm just kind of looking for the other areas where you could set up farms. So this is number 4, so there's a road in there. It's definitely easier to tell from the flying space here kind of what these look like a bit. So I'm going to explore all of the starting locations. I think this will be the 5th. Yep. So again, you know, they did create roads that basically get us there. But you can start here, have some fields immediately around, be close to the city. And then this plane up here, again, your entrance would be there. And you can set yourself up here, and certainly enough space to carve out some fields right there as well, but you're also near some of the larger fields up here on the map. And then lastly, in this direction, we've got this space, which looks like you might access through this road here. But then this space is area number 2, which is also by another town that has several points of interest for you. This is kind of the main area with the most. And once again, access and proximity to some substantial fields. Alright, so we're here in the pickup. And again, our first attempt to exit. I don't have my bearings off a bit. I'm assuming I'm just going to hit this. Oh, okay. It's an automated open. Alright. So, don't have to fix it, but you have to be in a vehicle. So check that as something that I've misstated. What's this little log feature here? Just kind of stumpy trees that look like maybe they've been cut out, and not quite sure why they have that gnarly top on them, but alright, so we've got, I think this is obviously the main road. We've got traffic. So this is one of our fields here, 189, that we see there near the tree. And then we'll just drive around a bit and just kind of take in the flavor of the map. So definitely some ruins, old buildings that haven't been torn down. Certainly, as we said, from the air, very clear elevation points. An interesting S-curve here that seems to just be there to be there. It doesn't appear to have gone around anything. But yeah, you've got some hills that if you're working these fields, just make sure you've got enough horsepower to not only pull your implement, but to pull it up things that have a significant incline. So if you're trying to plow one of these, it's going to take some horsepower to do that. So this is the pier and the dockyard that we saw down in the bottom corner here. So we'll just take a closer look so you get a little bit of a view. Looks like there's some construction going on here, but there's our unload point where we can go ahead. There's the point, I assume, if you want to interact. I assume this isn't purchasable, but it may be, so let me take a look. No, you can buy it for $96,000. Okay, so they've just got clear X's to kind of mark the edge of the map. So a little bit more stark and clearly, gamey than some other maps we've seen that might put a placeable there, like a vehicle or construction gates or something. Not quite sure why that vehicle stopped and then took off, but that's how the traffic is operating, at least there. So, not really a grid per se. I think this was where the cars that were floating outside the map come on to the map. But, definitely some straight roads from that regard, but, I'm not quite sure. I just don't know if this looks natural. Again, I'm not as familiar with this region, if it's truly this epic of a hill structure, and that contoured where you literally just go up this hill and then are flat. It would seem the hills might be less intense and more rolling, a little bit like this seems a bit more realistic, but I don't know, and it's not distracting enough that I would say it just makes the map something that wouldn't be usable, but it just does pose a question and a challenge as far as equipment and the difficulty of utilizing it. Might it be a little bit too much of a gradient? And the grade on the hill is going to make it hard for some equipment to operate on. So it would definitely be interesting. But I think the authors, I think there's multiples involved, have done a good job of definitely giving you something different here. Again, pretty massive fields on hills there. So if you're looking to work on something that you're going to have a nice view out of your vehicle as you're coming down the hill, that certainly is an option for you there. Alright, so I'm down here. We're going to be passing by field 5. I'm trying to determine where that drive through the forest was. I'm not sure that I can tell. I don't think it's this one, but it may be. But in any event, I'm going to continue on. So a lot of these tree stumps spread around the map. Obviously the authors really enjoyed that. Placeable to go ahead and put on the map for us. So we're heading over again to that side where we came across that wind turbine that's under construction and the cellular tower and so forth. So this is area 5 for the farm. Now again, the road comes in from the other side, but I'm just going to pull in here so you kind of get a view of the size and scope of this, of kind of what it feels like being within this space. So you've got, grass and a meadow growing here. You've got some fields up on the hill. So if you were to place animals, you could definitely do that. So I'm going to take a little bit of a diversion here. It does have just the standard animal pens that you can place. So as you can see, 15, 45, 80, and 80 cows. I think this has the robotic feeder in this one versus this one does not. Let's head back to the road we were at and continue on our journey. Oops. Okay, there's a little field there. So this looks like the bale sell point. Just given the giant stack of bales, that's probably a pretty safe bet. But, definitely a pretty drive around the area. I'm going to head up north this way because I think this is what takes us through the spaces that we were looking to get towards. I'm going to try to get to at least a couple more of the farms, or the farm locations you can set up. Certainly want to go by number 1, which is the island and so forth. Yeah, so there's one of the turbines under construction. Up there is the road that gets you into field or farm area 5. Just take a quick peek here again. Yeah, we're heading up, and we'll be able to go take a look at 3. We won't see 6, which is just obviously a giant parking lot. So I don't know that that's terribly interesting. So a gas station under construction. There's a lot of things being built here in town, but not available to you. So I'm pretty sure I'm just going to go ahead and go here into the area. I mean, yeah, we can't can't get rid of these buildings, so if you wanted to eliminate some of the city, I'm not surprised, but just checking. Alright, so we'll continue on. Got a person in a bright yellow shirt standing in their yard there. I don't know if you noticed them. Certainly caught my attention with the bright yellow. If you're a fan of cycling and the Tour de France, the Maillot Jaune, the yellow jersey, is certainly well known from that. Maybe it's getting to be that time of year in France, and he's supporting the cause. So, going up here, so obviously most of the roads look like they do have the electric utility poles going along with them. Alright, so this is the road into Farm Area 3. Right here. So once again, you've got kind of a meadow space, some more of these high bushes here. Definitely less visibility versus the last one we were in, where you were in a valley. Here you're kind of on a higher plane, and therefore just different views. Obviously, depending on what you enjoy and what you're looking for, this may be a wonderful starting point for you if you use this map. A little bit of a hill here. Looks like they've been taking out some trees recently. We've got just timber laying around. But yeah, some more rolling fields. Kind of a field in a bowl itself. It looks like both sides of that field rise up and the center is lower. I think we've got like a river. Is it a river over there or just a parking lot? That might be cotton. Now that I think about it, that might actually be a field. Just the way it was catching my eye, it looked like a river feature. Let's see where we're at again. So we're up here. Alright, I actually probably would be better off heading down this way to get to field 2. So let me turn around. And we'll take a turn at the intersection we just passed. Here at the base of the field. So, more construction. Just lots of activity going on here out on the French plain. So we don't have city names that I'm aware of. I guess I could look and see if there's street signs anywhere. But this little building is the bottom of Farm Area 2. Oh, there's fences, so we can't pull in there. So we'll head into town, because I think this is the only way we can get in there. So this, you can see, is more of a grassland with some large trees on it that you could leave or obviously take out. Again, we've got, well, I thought we could get over. I'm not quite sure the simplest way or the best way to get over, but this looks like our shop. So if we were to purchase things, this is where they'd appear. You'd have to bring them home from here. Again, more construction of things we can't specifically use. This is the filling station. So where you can gas up your vehicles. So yeah, I mean, we saw from the air how you could get into area number 2. Obviously, if you purchase this, you can figure out specifically via the road network best way to get there. So it's not as clear cut on how to arrive there from the village, because yeah, it looks like that entire area is fenced off. On a new map like this, you know, while I'm not testing it for that, you would likely not be able to sell that fence very easily, and so just keep in mind, unless you want fence around your fields, just you'd have to be careful as you place things there, how close you got to that and so forth. Alright, trying to find a way, because up north is where the kind of most intriguing farm starting space is, but I thought I could get some sort of a road that would take me up that way, but it's going to take a little bit of exploration to get there. This might be the best shot we've got, so we'll head this way. At least it's heading us in the right direction. So I think down there is the water feature that that farm would be a part of. This is just a nice placeable, but nothing we can interact with. There's a lot of sunflowers on the map, which is pretty beautiful for making it just a pretty landscape to drive through. Obviously, you can always plant your own sunflowers. So it looks like we're coming up. I see the number 1 appearing on the mini-map. So just try to follow this country lane up to that space. We have a, oh, that's just a lookout tower. I thought it was a sign of some sort that we might be able to look at, but no, it's just something built up there. Whoops. Again, trying to look and drive at the same time, not advised. Obviously, it's a challenge. Maybe you're better at it than me. So this should get us to our farm. So definitely some items that are close. I'm just going to try to hit this wood and see if it does move. So in theory, you could clean these things up. You know, come through here, pick up this timber, and you know, kind of clean up the way in. Certainly a nice little forest area here. I'm going to go to the map. Just from a purchasing standpoint, you can buy that forest separately. Obviously, you can buy. Okay, so the starting farm here is just those 2 islands, which makes sense. I don't know that there's much value in buying the water and then trying to do something with it. So here is the entrance to Area 1 if you were to make this your starting farm. So you kind of head over here. It looks like, yeah, there's a little roadway here as well that then connects the 2 spaces. So, you know, you could set your yard up on one and use another one as a field. Definitely more of a unique starting farm area than you have on a lot of maps. But the challenge is, if you want something beyond this, as you can see on this map where fields are all right next to each other, this creates a division that's going to be a little more difficult to work if you use this space. So I think that, you know, this is a good place to kind of wrap things up here, at least on the driving tour. Regarding your starting farm, and if you can sell things, you can sell all, well, not all the buildings. It looks, oh, hold on, you can. It just wasn't looking like it was selecting. So you can do that, and you know, eliminate that and clear things out if you'd like in the starting space. Alright, with regard to Courseplay, I've gone ahead kind of on this larger field, looks like it operates appropriately. You can see it's a little more sloppy on our current field. Part of the issue is here you can see there's a connecting point, or what looks like a connecting point here between our fields where they get very close together, so it doesn't cleanly separate. That's sometimes a problem that we see on maps like this. Go back to the field work. But with the more traditionally shaped fields, it does seem to work. I think you're going to be hit or miss on this map. I'm going to try some of these smaller fields here. All right, and you can kind of tell as you click on them, just does it give you a field boundary, so definitely some confusion there. I'm trying to pick 125. It doesn't appear to know what that is. It's too small. Again, maybe if I zoom in some more. I think that's just, well, it's telling me target is not on the field, but yeah, it can't define that as a field. That does a decent job. It identifies it. It puts tracks in appropriately. Let's see. Yeah, here. Okay, it can separate 56, but 59, as you can see, then highlights that whole area. Let me just pick 59 on its own now. So, as I said, kind of hit or miss there with 68 and 70 in the center. At like 70, it can't identify. So definitely some work needs to be done to make this map fully accessible with Courseplay. Obviously I would expect the rectangular fields are going to be easier, but the ones that are of unique shape are going to require some loving care by the map author. Something like this, again, where there's really no physical separation, even though it's two numbered fields. Okay, there's 7 and 8 seem to be separated accordingly, but 12, 13, and 17 clearly do not. So those are put together. So definitely a challenge that you're going to have to be aware of if you want to use Courseplay on this map. Again, it is a smaller standard size map, so you may choose not to do that. But that should give you enough to be able to tell if this map is something to utilize. I certainly like the fact that, once again, it's not a flat map. So with regards to would I use the map, yeah, if I was looking for something, I don't know that I would say, it's certainly, I think the authors have done a good job of making me feel like I'm in France. I can't tell you why, but it's just, initially I was like, is this just going to feel like a Polish map? And they're telling me it's in France, but somehow maybe I think some of the buildings, certainly in the villages, contribute to that. But just, I don't know, the trees, it just feels less Eastern European and more Western European. So they've done a good job of capturing that flavor. So I do like that. I would wonder, once again, the difficulty of, and I guess we can try that out here real quick. Go ahead and lower this down and work on our field a bit here. It probably won't let me. It is letting me harvest. I guess we are ready. You know, I can go 6 miles an hour. This is probably as steep as some of those other hills. So it does appear that it is potentially possible to work these fields with the base equipment and not have challenges. So that's a key consideration that I had, and I think this definitely gives us a good view of that. You know, but once again, just because you've got that varied terrain, you know, it gives you something a little bit different than what we've had on the maps that I've shown and come across so far that are a lot flatter. So if you're looking for something with a bit of a different character, different terrain, a different location, other than the base game map, Oberon, I don't know that I've seen anything else in this area of Europe as maps that have come out. So, you know, it gives you that feature of if you want to work in France. Again, there's things to be worked on. The author did say there's version 2, so maybe what your choice, you know, a good choice would be wait and, you know, wait until they update it with version 2, see what they determine they find as errors and they fix. Maybe they'll do things with the field boundaries and make it more accessible with Courseplay. But once again, as you can see, and granted these are some of the smaller fields on the map, you know, this isn't something that's going to take you a long time to do. And, you know, the question is Courseplay something you'd even really be worried about on this map? So, with that, I'm going to wrap this tour up and hope you've enjoyed it. As always, please subscribe to the channel if you have not done so, so you'll get notified of new content that I put out. And if you've enjoyed this video, or certainly any others you enjoy as you visit my little neck of YouTube, I'd appreciate dropping a like so that more people get exposed to it and we can continue to grow the community. And please comment below if you've got anything you want to discuss, and I'll answer as quickly as I can. And I'll see you next time.